Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ned's Healing Sanctuary. Today promises to have some earth-shattering revelations. That's right, we're going to shake what you think you know to your core. So grab some popcorn, buckle your chin straps. Here we go. So today's topic is the path to enlightenment. There are a lot of stories out there about what enlightenment really is, and a lot of misconceptions as well. So hopefully we can clarify most of those today. All right, let's get going. So we're going to start out with the story of Adam and Eve. Now, I know that some um, stories that are rooted in myth, like this was a biblical um, myth or story, and it's also in many other religions. Um, but most of those myths are rooted in truth. And I know there's allegory or symbolism in there as well. But we're going to use this as our basis to begin where when man first came to Earth and other three-dimensional planets. All right, so let's start in the upper left, follow the arrows around until we get to the lower right. So we're going to start in the spirit world. And in the spirit world, there, obviously where God lives and where God exists, I guess you could say, um, there is no devil or ego or sin. So you can't commit a sin if you're in the spirit world. And the story goes that one day an aspect of God made the decision, because free will is allowed by anyone, and God supports that. Okay, so that aspect of God decided to exercise its free will and incarnate to a place that had duality, where everything is outside of them, and the devil or ego or serpent, if you want to call it that, existed. And that would be representative of enticements of the flesh. Okay, so they were able to incarnate, Adam was able to incarnate to a place called the Garden of Eden, which is symbolic of any three-dimensional world. Okay. Shortly thereafter, the story goes that Eve, God created Eve from a rib of Adam. And God instructed Adam and Eve that they needed to tend this garden and work hard, and they could enjoy the fruits of their labor from this garden. And he gave them one cautionary word, which is, whatever you do, do not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, also known as the forbidden fruit. Now, this was symbolic of some um, act that goes against your higher self. Okay, that's what symbolism is there. So Adam heeded God's warning. God told him, "You will die if you eat the forbidden fruit." So Adam and Eve went about living their lives, and as you would expect in a three-dimensional place, um, their egos started cropping up and shattering at them. And you can see in this image in the lower left, there's a serpent wrapped around the tree, representative of the ego or the devil. And they are preparing to take a bite out of forbidden fruit. And so they did take that bite, which would be representative of an act against their higher self, right? Against their spirit. And as you would expect, guilt set in, right? So they started feeling guilty. And that's really what um, initiated the karmic ties to the Garden of Eden, similar to the karmic ties we have to Earth or any other planet, if you believe in that stuff. And so Adam and Eve continued to live their lives. They had two sons, I believe Cain and Abel. One killed the other, I'm not sure which. And then they also had a third son, and most of humanity is descended from the third son, as the story goes. So this is the story of Adam and Eve. The basis here is that an aspect of God exercised free will, incarnated to the Garden of Eden, or a three-dimensional world, as Adam. That's the story we take away. All right, now let's fast forward several million years, I guess we could say. And we have these ascendant masters, okay? So you have the Lord Jesus Christ, from whom Christianity was created after, named after. Lord Buddha, Buddhism was created after him. Abraham was the father of Judaism. The Torah apparently was dictated to him by God himself. Moses, another high importance in the Judaism, he also spoke to God, and he was the one who took the Israelites out of Egypt. They were slaves there, and then freed them. Okay, Lord Krishna, after whom Hinduism was founded, and then the Prophet Muhammad, after whom Islam was founded. So these are very famous. I don't want to call them people, but deities maybe, that did very important things. So most of these people, if not all of them, could work miracles. Like one of the miracles is speaking to God, right? That's a miracle in and of itself. We have intuition, we have a gut feeling, but we don't speak to God. These people can hear him in their heads, just like you and I hear the ego. And so, um, that's one of the um, skills, I guess you could call it, that is endowed upon ascendant masters. And so, what other skills are endowed? Well, when you reach enlightenment or awaken, right, to the reality of what you are in, you are endowed with certain spiritual gifts. One of them is channeling spirit. What is channeling spirit? Channeling spirit is when you can speak directly to your uh, spirit guide, and also to people that maybe have passed on. And so you've seen probably many channelers on YouTube and on TV as well. And so many times they give comfort to people if they're looking for, what has happened to my loved ones who have passed, and they give them clues that proves that they are speaking to them directly and that they're okay and so forth. And then channeling spirit, somebody might come to you if you can channel spirit, and your spirit guide will communicate with their spirit guide and address whatever problem they may have, right? Help them if they're stuck or if they need information to alleviate an issue that they're having. So if you ask probably all these ascendant masters, was it their goal to have a religion named after them? I would say no, that was not their goal, because their ego by this point is really, really small, and so they wouldn't, have a desire to be famous for that, right? Plus, a lot of these religions, you know, may say things that are maybe not believed by everybody. Okay, with all due respect to any religion or anybody who follows a religion. So one thing that they all have, not all, but most of these religions have in common is that they preach that someone is coming to save us, right? And so, like for instance, Christianity, they preach the second coming of Christ. So he's coming back at some point. He's going to save all the people left on earth, all the Christians. Um, and so Judaism believes the same thing. The Jewish faith believes that Messiah is coming as well. And so The question begs, is anyone coming to save us? What do you think? Right? No one is coming to save us. Why? Well, if you think back on the story of Adam and Eve, that aspect of God left of its own free will to experience duality. And then because of the karmic ties, they were, entrenched, became entrenched in this world. And so they procreated. Everybody else was entrenched as well. And people have made it out. These ascendant masters and thousands of others, if you look at the bottom of the slide, not most, an overwhelming majority were not famous, okay, of ascendant masters, people have become enlightened. And so when you become enlightened, one thing that's asked of you is to serve your mankind, fellow man. And so most of them quietly did that. And without electricity, without internet, and without social media, how do you reach your fellow man? Yes, you have to travel from village to village and try to convince them of what you have discovered. And when you do that, you have powers that you didn't used to have, right? You might be able to levitate, which Jesus Christ could, right? He walked over water or on air, and people saw him, and those became biblical stories. Similarly, most of these masters spoke to God or spirit; they could channel. Um, so, these are considered by normal beings like you and me to be like, you know, things that God could do. They're miracles, right? Incidentally, the Christian faith, they don't anoint someone after they pass as being a saint unless they proved during their lives that they worked miracles. And I think that particular um, item is like on point. They got that right. Because if you are ascendant, then you will have some spiritual gifts, whether that's healing, you know, um, people with terminal diseases, um, or missing limbs, low back, just things that are extraordinary, unbelievable. Um, so, earth-shattering revelation number one: no one's coming to save us. Where do you think that idea came from? Do you think that was given by spirit, or do you think that was given by someone here in the three-dimensional world? Someone's ego? Yeah, to keep us busy with our lives and waiting for someone to come and save us instead of putting the onus on us to free ourselves. See how that worked? All right. So, next question. This is a major question. Who are we in all of this? Who are we? So, can we become ascendant masters? Well, if you look back on the previous slide, um, many people believe those men and women are God. Like many people believe Christ is God, Krishna is God. Um, so, is that true? Are they God? Probably, probably. They were descended from Adam and Eve, and they reached a very, very high vibrational frequency and cleared all of their karma and received spiritual gifts, went around trying to help all of the rest of their brothers and sisters, to give you a clue about how to live here. So, who are we? You can see the summary here. There's an aspect of God that wanted to incarnate. That was Adam and Eve, ascendant masters. They're descended from Adam and Eve. What about you and me? We're also descended from Adam and Eve. What does that make us? Say it. Don't be afraid. You are God. That's right. That is right. You are God. But you're thinking, that can't be true. I can't do any of those things that those other people can do or could do. I'm not powerful. I'm actually frail. I'm weak. Well, the only reason why you feel that way is because you're in a dream called life. You've forgotten who you are. And when you go through enlightenment, also known as awakening, what do you think you awaken from? A dream. You ever watched The Matrix, the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves? I've always thought that was a very spiritual film. Why? Because you had these people in tubes or like being, they were in incubators, right? Being fed to be kept alive. And yet they were out in the fake matrix, um, thinking, quote unquote, thinking they were living their lives when they were actually in an incubator, being fed, God knows what, ground up oatmeal. I don't know what they were eating. And so they were able to keep this matrix alive through their, brain waves and everything else while they were kept over there in the dark, not knowing what was happening. Very similar to where we are, don't you think? A dream. Right. So when you become enlightened, you awaken from the dream. You awaken from the dream. And then you become aware of who you are. And once that happens, then you kind of stop your old life, whatever you used to be. Like Jesus Christ was a carpenter, right? I think the Prophet Muhammad was a trader, um, you know, buying and trading and selling goods. So they stop that life and they become someone else because they have to cut their ties with the people they used to know, because they don't want to add any new karma. And then they go on the new path, which is to serve mankind. So, one, no one's coming to save us. Two, you are God. We just don't know it. So, where does that leave us? How do we get to enlightenment? Okay, how do we get to enlightenment? Well, you have to fix the sources of negativity and you have to love yourself. So, if there are unresolved guilt in your life, you have to go resolve that. How do you do that? You have to fix whatever is wrong with a broken relationship or someone you may have wronged. And so, um, that has to be resolved, or there'll be a new source of guilt coming in every day or every week, and it won't go away. So, one, go fix whatever is broken, whatever relationship that is generating new guilt for you. Okay. And also love yourself. Okay. You have to love yourself before you can love anyone else. Two, practice meditation every day to forgive yourself and others 15 minutes a day. Okay. Three, think positively. Why? Because positive thoughts garner positive actions, which lead to positive emotions. Get in the habit of thinking positively, feeling positively. Why? Because this will stop the negative thoughts and actions, stop the new karma, which is critical. Lastly, stay true to your higher self. Act out of love. Everything. Think out of love, act out of love. Then you can't go wrong. If you wonder if you should do something or say something or not, ask yourself, is this coming from a place of love? Am I doing it for the right reason? Am I in line with my higher self? Okay? That's how you know. And then repeat that daily, again and again and again. Only way. So to summarize in text form here, this is the path to freedom and true love. Fix unresolved sources of guilt and negativity. Don't be small. Okay? Apologize. Even if you don't think you were at fault. At this point, at this stage, after I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of years, it's time. Do what you have to do. Okay? Fix it. Be genuine, be humble, be kind, come from a place of love. and do this step with your full heart. If you do it half-heartedly or skip it, you're going to be running in place because new guilt is going to come up. Okay? Remove all guilt and negativity from your conscience. How do you do that? Practice forgiveness meditation. Okay? That's in the video titled Removing Emotional Blockages, and it's at the 10-minute, 30-second mark. Please do those exercises. 3, practice positivity. Okay? Prevent new karma from being incurred. That's in the video, The True Impact of Positivity, the first video that I created. Follow these steps, and it's only a matter of time. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Okay? Be real. Be real about this. Otherwise, you're going to be taking one step forward, 2 steps back. Don't do it half-heartedly. If you stick to this, you can do this in one lifetime, depending on how much residual karma there is in your life. You may be very close. We just don't know. We don't know how close we are. So you have to do it religiously. And one day it will happen. The light will go off. You'll be in a new place in your mind. So help me get the word out. Okay, there's some very important information in this video. People need to know it. We should not be the only ones pushing and acting towards enlightenment. Okay, we need others, many, many, many others doing the same thing, or this is not going to work. We're going to be stuck here for another 100,000 years. Okay, it's time. It's time to go back and remember who we were. It's time. Okay, so help me share this on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp groups. Link to this video and channel from other channels on YouTube. Discuss it. Let others know about it, that it's there. And if you have questions, please, by all means, put them in the comments. I appreciate your support and helping me get the word out. Okay, this is very important information, and I hope that you will help me help others. Thanks so much for your time. Talk to you soon.